Okay. Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan. My name is Jonathan Sobel. I'm the Tokyo Bureau Chief of the Financial Times and a member of the club, and I'll be your moderator today. For many years, conservative politicians in Japan have followed a certain line of thinking with regard to women, employment, and demographics. When countries get richer and more women start working outside the house, that tends to correspond with a fall in birth rate. Japan's birth rate has fallen well below replacement levels. That's dangerous. Ergo, the logic was, let's discourage women from working. That'll fix everything. They'll stay at home, they'll have more babies, the population will start growing again. Well, as we know, that hasn't happened. Since the end of 2012, we have a new government and a new set of policies regarding the economy and much more besides. Abenomics is about ending inflation, it's about deregulation, but it's also prominently about increasing opportunities at work for women. Whether the fundamental thinking has changed is an open question, and that's something I hope we will hear more about from our guest speaker today. The idea seems to be partly an economic one. Japan's labor force has been shrinking since the mid-90s. Its absolute population shrinking since a couple of years ago. We need more people working. There is not much prospect for mass immigration, so women are, in the words of Prime Minister Abe, Japan's most underused resource. It's also a demographic one. Some people think, the more liberal leaders among the Japanese government think, that if you can make it so that women can work and have children, then the birth rate will actually increase that way. And that's something that I think research has shown is true in some other countries. There still seems to me to be a debate going on inside the government about whether that is actually true. And again, this is something that I hope our speakers can enlighten us today. So I'm delighted to introduce the Minister of State for Gender Equality and Women's Issues, Masako Moto. She will address us with some initial words, and then we'll have a chance to ask her some questions. So I will turn over the floor without any more delay. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to my gratitude for inviting me this professional luncheon with us. In Japan, the power of women is one of the biggest potential resources that remains underutilized. Therefore, Abe Cabinet puts active participation for women at the core of our growth strategy and implements a variety of measures to create a society where all women can shine. Glass ceiling is well known. I have brought up 2 children while working as a lawyer, a member of parliament, and a minister. I realized many glass stones litter on women's paths, which hinders women's success. Glass stones are invisible for men. For example, my husband. And they don't understand why women stumble on the way. My mission is to spray the stones to make them visible and remove them one by one with them. Also, important is overcoming the crisis of falling birth rate. Japan faces a low birth rate and declining population. which could rock the very foundation of our society and economy. In June 2013, we decided on the energy emergency measures to accelerate our efforts to break through the crisis. And last month, we formulated the basic policies for the economic and financial management and foreign reform 2014. Today, I would like to talk about 4 points. 1, the necessity of promoting women's participation in society. 2, our efforts and achievements on women's participation. 3, new policy measures for further improvement. And 4, gravity of low birth rate and policies to overcome. So, 日本語でお話しさせていただきたいと思いますが、スライドをご覧ください。まず1ページ目でございますけれども、ウィメン・ミックス・アレノミックスの中核です。まず国連で総理大臣が演説をしましたけれども、半分以上女性の活躍について話し、国際的に高い評価を得ました。ダボスで行われた経済フォーラムでも女性の力に言及をしています。日本の総理が女性の活躍を中心に据えて話し始めたのは初めてあると思います。世界がとても注目していると思います。
So now I'd like to switch to Japanese, and I'd like to ask you to look at the first slide. As you can see, Prime Minister Abe gave a speech at the UN General Assembly, and he spent half of this speech, more than half the speech, talking about the necessity of promoting women in society. This speech was regarded very, very highly. Prime Minister Abe also made a similar speech in Davos at the World Economic Forum. He also spoke about the necessity of promoting women in society. Because the Japanese Prime Minister has focused so much on promoting women, this is probably the first time that the Japanese Prime Minister has done so. The world is paying great attention to this.
Page 2. なぜ女性の活躍が重要かですけれども、まず女性の活躍で何が変わるかですけれども、現在日本では結婚出産を機に6割の女性が仕事を辞めています。これが M 字格です。しかし働きたいという女性が315万人います。これが赤いカーブですね。女性の活躍は労働力の確保という量の側面だけではありません。優秀な人材を確保し、女性の視点が加わることで商品開発やサービスの向上が期待されています。ゴールドマン・サックスやIMF も女性の活躍をすると経済がこのようにですね、大きくプラスになるというふうに指摘をされています。また経済人の女性の割合が高い企業ほど経営指標が良いという分析もあります。
So again, turning to page 2, why is promotion of women necessary? What will change if we promote more women in society? First of all, as many of you know, 60% of Japanese women tend to leave their work, leave their companies after having gotten married and having children. And this is the M-shaped curve that you see on the right-hand chart. But however, you can see by the red line that 3.15 million women want to actually continue working. By promoting more women in society, this means not only that we have a larger labor force and we have more numbers of people working, it also means that you change the nature of companies, that you have a more outstanding product development, better services, because very capable women will be joining or returning to the workforce. In fact, Goldman Sachs, IMF, many similar organizations have said that promoting women in society will benefit the overall Japanese economy. In fact, it has been proven that companies with a high percentage of women in managerial posts have better management indicators.
Page 3. KPI。我々はですね、昨年、日本最高戦略、成長戦略で、KPI を定めます。2つ定めます。一つは2030で、指導的地位に女性を 30%。もう一つはボトムの女性の数ですけれども、働き盛りの女性の就業率を 73% と設定をしまして、この3つの政策をその実現のために立てます。一つは企業に対するインセンティブです。もう一つはですね、女性のライフステージは様々です で、そのさまざまなライフステージに対応したきめ細かい政策、そして3つ目が男女のワークライフバランス。
So as you can see in this slide, page 3, that we have revised our Japan revitalization reconstruction, Japan's strategy. As a result, we've set forth 2 KPIs. One is 2030, which means that by 2020, we want to have 30% of leadership positions in Japan filled by women. Also, looking at the very bottom part of the slide, you can see that we also want to encourage more women to work in the younger age group. Women 25 to 45, 73% of them should be working by this time. In order to realize this, we have 3 pillars that we are implementing. One is that we want to provide incentives to companies to encourage them to support women. Secondly, we want to have detailed strategies that support women at different stages of their lives. In other words, women's lives are very complex and full of differences depending on the time period. Also, we want to create an environment for both men and women can attain a work-life balance.
Page 4、それぞれですね、この KPI に向けた政策のですね、主な成果を紹介をさせていただきますけれども、まず2030でございますけれども、1年間ここに書いてあるように 6.9% から 7.5% に上がりました。これはなぜかというと、写真にあるように総理が経済3団体に直接要請をしました。これは非常に異例なことです。政治の世界から経済界に注文をつけて、女性を役員に入れなさい、それに対応してですね、経済団体が経団連がやりますというふうに答えました。実は前の晩まで揉めました。しかし私は担当大臣で、根回し役ですので、森大臣、役員に1人女性を入れるというのはやめてくれと。役員に1人入れるように努力するという、よりソフトな言い回しにしてくれなどという抵抗がありましたけれど、これは断固として、必ず1人はいる。だって1人でしょということで、総理の強い意志をですね、そのまま言葉にしていただく。ところがですね、やはり見てください。経団連のトップがですよ、入れると断定上で言ったことで、これだけの1年間で大きな伸びが出て、ここに写真が出ているような女性たちが日経新聞を飾るようになっています。今、毎日日経新聞をめくると、日本経済新聞をめくると、経済界に上場企業に女性の役員がどこどこ企業に誰々が入ります。40代の女性です。毎日そのニュースが出ます。この1年間で50人以上の女性が上場企業の役員になりました。私の大臣室に訪れてくる大企業の社長もドアを開けたらまず「森大臣、今度の取締役会女性を1人役員にあげますから」それを言わないと他の陳情がというふうに思い込んでいる。それぐらいの大きな動きがあります。
So, as I mentioned earlier, we did put together specific KPIs and had strategies to implement them. The biggest one was this 2030 policy. And the result is, as you can see in the middle of this page, the share of women in managerial positions have increased from 6.9% to 7.5% from June 2012 to June 2013, only 1 year. This was achieved only because Prime Minister Abe himself visited the organizations, major organizations in the business field, as you can see in the top right photograph. It was a very, very unusual visit for a leading politician to visit the economic business organizations and make a very specific request of them. And the request that he made was, please promote women, please actively promote women, and please promote women to board of directors posts. And this is something that finally they agreed to, and it was announced that they were trying to achieve this. Actually, it looks very good on paper, but the actual negotiations were quite difficult. In fact, the night before the official announcement by the Keidan and the Japan Business Federation that they were trying to implement this, there were very, very difficult conversations that took place. In fact, because I was the minister in charge of this, many of the business leaders came to me and said, we just can't do this. We can't simply promote a woman to the board of directors just so quickly. But what we can do is we can announce that we will make great efforts to try to do so. Can we soften, in other words, the policy in some way? But I said this was not possible because the Prime Minister had a very, very strong belief that women should be brought into the board of directors rooms. And as a result, Kate On then made this announcement that they would do so. And as you can see from the photographs at the bottom of this page, there are women now. Many women that have been promoted to boards of directors designations. In fact, when you open the Nikkei newspaper, Mainichi, etc., newspapers, almost every day you see announcements of major listed companies announcing that they have promoted women to their board. In fact, there are over 50 women now that have been included in the boards of listed companies now. In fact, when corporate executives visit my office, it seems that they feel that they have to visit my office first and announce that they have lived by their resolution, they promise they have promoted a woman to the board of directors. They feel apparently that if they don't make this announcement and visit to me, they don't have the right to visit other ministries to make other requests. These are all very, very positive developments.
Page 5.そして先ほどの KPI の2つ目でございますけれども、ボトムの方の女性の就業者を増やすという方ですけど、これも 68% から 69.5% に上がりました。つまり1年間で62万人の女性が働き始めたということです。2ページに皆さんに見せた M 字カーブ、青いカーブですけれども、赤ちゃんを産んだ時にやめるというこの M 字カーブの赤いカーブ、希望のカーブまで行くのが310万人いると言いましたが、そのうちの62万人がもう働き始めたという動きが出ています。経済界の自主的な取り組みもあります。経団連は総理の要請がありまして、今年の要請です。去年の要請が役員です。今年の要請は計画を出します。この今年の要請に応えまして、47社が女性の雇用に関する自主行動計画を作って公表しました。そして全会員企業に呼びかけたんです。47社のうち27社で女性登用の数値目標を掲げています。
So as you can see, we've seen the second KPI also being very, very effective. The second KPI was to try to increase the numbers of women aged 25 to 44 work as much as possible. The numbers of women in this category working rose in the past 1.5 years from 68% to 69.5%. What that means is that 620,000 women have joined or rejoined the workforce. I mentioned earlier, I showed you that MG curve, that blue curve. This represents the women who have to retire from work because they have a baby, and yet that is very, very different from the red curve, which shows the over 3 million women who want to work. We eventually want to make that blue curve go along the same lines as that blue curve. What Prime Minister I asked of the major organizations last year, Keidanren, was to promote at least one woman to the board of directors. He has a different request this year, which is that he wants one of the companies that are in the Keidanren organization to produce voluntary action plans and voluntary targets for promoting women. And as a result, 47 companies have presented and announced publicly their action plans.
Page 6. 保育の充実ですけれども、ピンクのラインが、今までの政権ですね。元の自民党政権と民主党政権で少しずつは増やしてましたが、まだまだ足りないということで、黄色で塗られているところが安倍政権になってからの計画です。2年間で20万人、5年間で40万人という大規模な保育の拡充をですね、掲げまして、財源の裏付けをつけました。そしてこの緑のラインに沿って今着実に保育園が増えています。
So this shows you the child care services situation in Japan. The pink line on the left-hand side shows you what previous administrations, including LDP-led and DPJ-led administrations have done. And you can see that there's been a gradual improvement in the number of spaces available for children in daycare facilities. However, that increase has been very, very slow. The area indicated in yellow is the area that has fallen under Prime Minister Abe's administration and his future plans. And you can see that in 2 years, the number of places available for children in daycare facilities is going to be increased by 200,000 spaces. In 5 years, by 400,000 spaces. And these are not just pie in the sky kinds of predictions. We have also secured the financing and the budget required to increase the number of daycare centers.
Number 7、育児休業給付ですけれども、今まで育児休業を取っていると給料の 50% が出ていたわけですけれども、これを 50% から 67% に引き上げました。一番下の行に書いてあるように、休業している時にはですね、出ていくものも減りますので、税金などの支払いがなくなりますので、それを考えますと約8割がですね、手元に現金が来る、お給料の8割が手元に現金が来るということで、育児休業を取得しやすくしました。さらに男性にも育児休業が取ってもらえるように、ママだけじゃなくてパパも取った場合には 80% になる期間が2倍に伸びるというふうなことをしてインセンティブを与えていました。なおですね、80% というのは世界の中でもスウェーデンと同じぐらいということで、世界の中でもトップレベルだと。
Also, we have looked at child care leave benefits. As you know, until now, if you stopped working, took maternity leave, you were able to receive about 50% of your former salary. However, we raised this 50% figure to 67%. And as you can see by the bottom line of this slide, when you consider the fact that there are special tax benefits, the actual effective benefits you're receiving is not 67%, but about 80% of your former your pay levels. Not only that, we've made it possible for men to be able to receive this child care leave benefits as well. We're encouraging more men to take child care leave, which means that if the woman does take her child care leave benefits and the man does as well, then you'll be able to have twice that 80% benefit.
今、アベノミクスの中でも有名なミクスというのは世界中から注目されてまして、私も国際会議に行くたんびに女性の閣僚たちと面談を求められます。アメリカで言えば例えばラッセル大使、それからオーストラリアのこの間外務大臣で、副首相の方がいらっしゃいましたね。その方もですね、自分のその担当範囲と違うんだけれど、女性の活躍のことについて、ぜひ、私と2人で話したいということで、私もバイ会談をさせていただいたんですが、ラッセルもですね、オーストラリアの外務大臣もですね、この育児休業の給付というのはアメリカにはないということ、それからオーストラリアでもこれは帰国してすぐアボットに伝えるわと言っていたぐらい高い評価を得たものです。日本でもこれが簡単に実現されたわけではなくて、これをやれば育児休業が増える、だから給付を増やしたいということはずっとどの政党も公約に掲げて選挙を戦ってきたんですが、その後実現しない、財源が取れないということでずっと足踏みをしてきましたけれど、安倍内閣になって1年目で、私がずっと各民のたんびに担当の厚労大臣に、同い年の2人でお揃いで最年少大臣をやってるんですが、田村大臣をタムタムと呼んでいますが、タムタムやってよ、タムタムやってよ、これをやんないと女性の活躍ができないのよと言っていたら、タムタムがですね、分かってるんだけどこれは本当にいろいろ難しいんだと、毎回、いい答えをもらえなかったんですが、1年経ってある日突然やりますというふうに田村大臣が発表しました。聞くところによると、私から閣議で言われるたんびに彼は厚労大臣室に帰って厚労省の官僚にやってよやってよと同じように言っていたということで、1年かけて一生懸命いろんな知恵を絞って一歩踏み出したということで、育児休業これを言えるということをですね、私も大変楽しみにしています。役所でもですね、企業にこうやって要請するからには、安倍内閣では霞が関の中も変えなければいけないというふうに取り組んでいます。私が消費者庁に来た時、すぐにデータを出させました。男性官僚の育児休業の取得率出しなさい。それは栄えある 0%。 しかし私が就任した後はですね 100%。 私が就任した後にお子さんに恵まれた男性官僚必ず全員取っている。育児休業給付率も高いですけれども、やっぱりリーダーを見ているということもあると思います。今日本の男性は30代の若い男性はみんなイクメンなんです。 最近でもないですが、私が海外いろんなところに行ってます。先日もアメリカに行きました。そうしまして、私のニューヨーク大学の恩師にありました、アップハム教授が、いやー、もう雅子が大臣をしてるのはよく分かったけど、日本は男尊女卑の国じゃないのかいというふうにアップハム教授が言います。しかし、今時の若者はそんな教育は受けていません。今時のお母さんたちは自分の男の子にそんなことを教えていません。例えば台所に入るなとか、将来結婚したら奥さんを手伝っちゃダメよみたいなことは一切言ってないんです。みんな若い子はイクメンなんだけれど、会社に行った時にイクメンとして振る舞えない。上の人たちの目を気にする、会社の空気を気にするということがあるんです。制度はだいぶ改善されてきたけど、制度を使えないんです。そういう意味でリーダーシップとかマインドセットというのは大変大事だというふうに思います。私の役所ではちなみに人事規定も変えました。育児休業を取ったら昇進させるというふうに決めたんです。お給料も大事ですけれど、やはり特に男性が気にするのは、育児休業を取って戻ってきたときに同期と一緒に昇進できるかどうか、特に官僚はそれを気にするかもしれません。日本の官僚はとても給料が低いんです。ですから東京大学を出ても他の有名な企業に入った同級生より給料が低くても霞が関で働くのはやはり上に登って国を動かす仕事がしたいからという志があるからですが、それが叶わなくなっては大変ですね。私の役所では育児休業を取ったものから昇進できるというふうにしたら、人事課長がですね、大臣おやめください、前例がないと言うなよって言ったら、いや世界に前例がありませんと言ったので、世界初の制度だと思いますが、これをしまして役を実現いたしました。どうぞ。
So, because of all of these very positive actions that we're taking to promote women in Japan, whenever I go abroad to international conferences, for example, I am targeted of a great deal of attention. Recently, I went to Australia, I met with the ambassador, even the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Minister, who is also the Vice Prime Minister, wanted to meet with me, even though that person was not in charge of women's affairs, because of everything that was happening in Japan. The minister was very curious and asked for a private meeting. In this way, I had the opportunity to describe some of the policies that we're promoting, including this new change in child care benefits. In fact, the Minister of Foreign Affairs said that this was a wonderful idea and that they would immediately convey this information to Mr. Abbott, his boss. I would like also to explain that although we've been very successful in implementing these new policies, it has not been an easy task. In fact, in the past, all political parties have promised during election campaigns they would try to increase the budgets for child rearing support. However, once they were in power, no one has ever been able to achieve this. Prime Minister Abe's cabinet has followed a very different path. In the very first year, we were able to secure the finances and actually promote different child care policies, especially providing this increase in child care leave benefits. Certainly, it was not an easy path. I worked very, very closely with my counterpart, the Minister of the Health, Labor and Welfare Department. His name is Mr. Tamada, and we are very, very close because we're the two youngest members of the cabinet, and I would call him, because his name is Mr. Tamada, Tum Tum. And every time I met him in a cabinet meeting, I would say, Tum Tum, please think about this, try to change the child care leave benefits policy. And every time he would just frown and say, I understand what you're doing, I believe in what you're doing, but I don't think it's possible. For a year, we went back and forth on this, and every time he said it was impossible. But then one day, out of the blue, he made an announcement that they would, in fact, change the child care leave benefits. And what happened apparently was that every time I met him in a cabinet meeting and made this request, he went back to his ministry and met with his bureaucrats and asked them to please reconsider changing the child care benefits. And finally, they decided that they would do so. Certainly, it's very, very easy to ask other people to do other things. For example, asking corporations to change their policies. However, if you're going to make a request, then you also have to change therefore I felt that governments, bureaucrats also had to change. And so when I became head of the Consumer Affairs division as well as part of my state minister responsibilities, I told my bureaucrats to gather data and see how many men were actually taking child care leave after having children, and the answer was practically 0%. I said this was absolutely unacceptable. We had to change, and as a result, after I have taken responsibility as minister in this area, that number has gone from 0% to 100%. In other words, since my tenure, all young men who have new babies have taken child care leave. We realize, of course, that what I'm saying is that people in their 30s, men in their 30s, are very, very different now. Recently I visited New York. I studied at New York University previously, and I met with a former professor, and he was very excited about some of the things that I was doing. But he said, Nesako, what you're doing is facing an impossible task. We know all about Japan. We know that Japan is a country that discriminates against women. There's no way that you're going to be able to change the country. And I said, no, you have a very old, antiquated view of Japan. Japan is changing. Men are changing. In fact, the mothers who raise boys are changing. No longer do mothers say it's unmanly for a male to stand in the kitchen. It's unmanly for a man to help with housework. They teach their sons to help with housework, etc. However, I mentioned earlier that although we're encouraging bureaucrats to take child care leave, it's a very different world between corporations, private companies, and the world of the bureaucracy. The thing that bureaucrats worry so much about, even though they internally want very much to take child care leave and help with housework and help with raising their children, they're very afraid that if they take child care leave, when they come back from their leave, they'll find that they won't have a post to go to. In fact, they'll suffer. They'll be taken off the elite promotion track. What I've done is spoken with my personnel person and said that any man who takes child care leave, when he comes back, he will be promoted. In other words, people who work in government, if you go to the West University of Tokyo, you don't make a very good salary working as a civil employee. What people do want, however, is to have a good career. They want to be able to do things for the government. And now that they have this assurance that they can take child care leave, come back and be promoted, they are taking actively child care leave.
Page 8、ちょっとお聞きしておきますね。女性の活躍の見える化でございますけれども、ここに書いてあるような女性の役員の数、それから男性の育児休業の取得率などの情報をですね、私の森大臣のホームページにですね、載せていただいています。これは任意に載せていただいて、このシステムを私が始めるといったときにですね、私の部下は全員反対しました。いや、森大臣、無理です。どの企業もどうぞお乗せくださいという任意な要請をして乗せるわけないじゃないですか。女性の役員がこんなに少なくて、男性の育児休業率、取得率 0%、恥ずかしい情報、載せるわけがないと言ったんですが、見てください。上場企業の1191社、33.5%。私が毎日のようにこの種の講演をするたびに数字が伸びています。企業はもうアベノミクスに乗り遅れないためには女性活躍の政策をしなければならないということに気がついています。そしてそれを見ているのが投資家、就職する学生、消費者です。
So another thing that we're doing is to not make the activities of corporations to promote women more visual, more transparent. We are uploading information about corporations, the number of women, the percentage of women that have in managerial posts, the percentage of men who take child care leave, and we are publishing this information, uploading this information, and the information is presented on my homepage. However, all of this information that is being uploaded is on a voluntary basis. When I first presented this idea, most of my subordinates said, it's impossible. If you don't make it compulsory, there's no corporation that's going to willingly disclose information about their companies. They're going to be ashamed of the fact that they have so few women in managerial positions. They're going to be so embarrassed about the fact that they have almost no men taking child care leave. However, please look at these results. 1,191 listed companies, that's 30.5% of all the listed companies in Japan, have voluntarily listed their information. Each day when I go around and make these kinds of speeches, this number keeps rising. In other words, corporations are very aware of the momentum of economics. They don't want to fall behind. Who is looking at this kind of information? Ministers are looking at this information. Also, students who are considering what company to eventually work for are looking at this information.
page 9、ここまで企業に、偉そうに要請するからには自分たちもやらなければならないということで、国家公務員における女性の採用同様にも取り組んでいます。女性の管理職比率、安倍内閣になってから従来のペースの3倍で増加をしています。この秘密はですね、通信簿制度です。私が閣議のたびに全大臣の通信簿をつけて配っています。女性の官僚が何パーセントいるのか、その中で管理職の女性が何パーセントいるのか、もう一つ有識者会議の中で何パーセントの女性を使っているのか、文部科学省、外務省、国交省、経済産業省、全部のリストをつけて、トップから最下位までランキングをつけて配っています。男性はランキングが大好き、もう大臣は争って女性の活用をしていまして、通信簿1学期、2学期、3学期と上がるたびに女性の比率が上がっています。ここに書いてあるように、最下位だったポリスはですね、頑張りまして、被災地、岩手の県警本部長を女性にしました。彼女は被災地という大変治安の維持が難しいエリアの県警本部長に女性初でなっただけではなく、警察庁に同期で入った全ての男女の中のトップで県警本部長になっています。
So you can see that, as mentioned earlier, it's one thing to ask corporations to do something, but the government also has to get the leadership and also improve its own women promotion policies. As a result, you've seen that since Prime Minister Abe has taken power, the percentage of women who have taken leadership positions in the national government have increased by 3 times. This is not something that was easy to achieve. What I did was I created report cards for each ministry. Every time we had a cabinet meeting, I would present a report card and I would show each ministry the percentage of women that they had in the ministry, and also the proportion of women that they had in managerial positions. And not only that, but I would also have a percentage of women in the academic groups that would often act as advisory groups to different ministries. I would show these report cards, and I would make a list of all of the ministries and rank the top ones to the bottom ones so that everyone knew which ministry was in which position. And men love to be ranked, when they love to compete with each other. And as a result, every time I would present the report card, they would compete against each other for even more women. And you can see as a result, the police force tried to do the best. They were at the very bottom of the ranking in the beginning. However, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner that they have a very dramatic step of promoting for the first time a woman to become the head of the prefectural police office. And this is in the area that was devastated by the earthquake in Iwate prefecture. Not only is this the first woman to be chosen in such position, this woman is the first person to receive the prefectural top office position among all of the people who entered in the police force in the same year. In other words, she's the first of her class or first of her year to be promoted.
それから9ページにつながりました写真は人事院総裁ですね。これ国家公務員の処遇を決めるのが人事院ですから、そのトップが女性になってくる。
Also, I'd like to point out the picture on the right-hand side is the female president of the National Personnel Authority. This National Personnel Authority is a very, very important, crucial organization in the government because they create all of the conditions for the employees in the civil service.
Page 10. これがアベノミクス2でございまして、昨年に引き続き今年の成長戦略。この中でもですね、女性の活躍というのが去年は初めて国の成長戦略に女性が活躍が入りましたけど、今年はさらにその優先順位がアップして、最初のトップに書き込んでもらいましたけど、新たに講ずるべき具体的施策として目を引くのが、一つが育児・家事支援環境の拡充ですね。小1の壁と言われていますけれども、学校に上がってからの放課後の児童クラブ、これを30万人整備をするということをお約束をしています。また子育て支援員などですね、の子育ての援助をですね、するメンバーを増やしていく。それから 家事支援サービスの利用者負担をですね、低くしていくということも、そういう仕組みを作るということも書いています。
So, coming to slide number 10, this is Abenomics round 2, which was recently updated and revised. As you know, last year in the growth strategies announced by Mr. Abe, he included the promotion of women for the very first time. And this year, we are following through on that, and we are also putting that promotion of women much higher on the list of growth strategies, and we're presenting specific concrete policies as well. One specific one is when women have children, one of the things that they encounter is the problem of daycare. When the children are very young, there's still some daycare available. However, when the children enter first grade or elementary school, it's very, very difficult to find some place that will take care of the children after school has ended. So these are called after-school clubs, and we have promised to increase spaces for these children by 300,000. We're also creating a new system where we will have, for example, former housewives become official child care supporters. We're also offering affordable housework support services as well.
時間が伸びていますので、後ろの少子化の方、女性の活躍だけだとちょっと述べておりますが、11ページですね、具体的生活が過去6から続いてますけれども、その中でも目新しいものとしては、女性活躍の新しい法律を作ります。そして、有価証券報告書による役員の女性比率の記載を義務付けをします。そして、企業情報を一面化して、総データプランをですね、データベースを作ります。
So I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to skip over some of these things. However, turning to page 11, you can see that from 6 on to 10, 11, etc., we are establishing new concrete policies to promote women. Some things that are very, very worthy of note is the fact that we are providing new legislation. We're drafting new legislation to make the promotion of women more possible. Another very important fact is that we're going to make it's compulsory for companies to present as part of their financial statement, as part of their securities report, the percentage of women that they have in managerial positions, or rather as yakuin or members of the board.
11番にね、税制と社会保障制度を見直します。
We're also going to be reviewing the tax and social security policies as well.
12ページはですね、昨年に引き続き経済界にこのような要請をします。
Again, page 12 shows you the kinds of new requests, new round requests that we're making to business organizations.
はい、そして13ページを説明して終わりにしますけれども、全国的にこの動きを広げていきたいと思っています。でここに書いてあるようなシャイニング・ウィメンという会議をしたり、それから総理が全国を回るキャラバンをしています。そしてここに書いてある男性リーダーの会というのも立ち上げました。これはオーストラリアの性差別担当官のブロデリックさんが大臣室に来てくださって、オーストラリアの取り組みを教えてくださいました。それを我が国でも採用しました。男性による男性のための女性活躍ですということで、このそうそうたるメンバーの男性社長さんたちが揃っていますが、彼らがあらゆる機会に女性の活躍について、なぜこの会議には女性がいないの、なぜ我が社では女性が活躍できないの、なぜ取引先の人が出てくるとき男性だけなのということで、あらゆる機会で女性の活躍について、発表をしていってくださるということを宣言をしてもらっています。少子化問題についてはですね、また質疑応答がありましたらお答えすることにいたしまして、私からの説明にさせていただきます。ご清聴ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Because I'm running out of time, I'm going to end with this last slide, for slide 13. As you can see, we have promoted different activities, such as, for example, we had a conference to support what we call Shining Women. This is a way to increase the awareness of promoting women to the entire nation. Prime Minister Abe has conducted what he calls a caravan, promoting these ideas all throughout Japan. Also, another very interesting point is we've created a group of male leaders, men leaders, and we're going to help in promoting women. And I received this idea from a person named Mr. Broderick, who is in charge of sexual discrimination activities in Australia. They apparently have a similar organization where men champion women in the corporate world, and so we have put together a leaders of the business community, corporate presidents, and we've encouraged them to constantly ask within their companies, why are there no women in certain posts? Why are there no women in certain meetings? Why, when clients visit, are there no women present? So these are the kinds of things that we're doing, and we have also prepared a declaration to promote women in this world. So I also wanted to talk about the declining birth rate, etc., but perhaps I will refer to these matters during the question and answer period for my attention.